If you look at how much we're raking in as compared to Nollywood, in terms of just even Anglophone West Africa alone, we're told that Nollywood is making about 11.2 million thereabouts. And so 97% of movies that are coming out from West Africa are movies from Nigeria. And then the rest we're sharing with Kenya and Tanzania. And so we are making about 600 movies annually. And this is a report that came out as of 2021. So what really is the reason? We've complained so much about having a stagnated movie industry, and yet we have people in the industry who are complaining about whether it's lack of funding, lack of interest with the players that be within the industry as well, and a myriad of other issues. And then it comes to nominations and being recognized for the work that we're doing, whether it is on Netflix, AMVCAs, and we see that we have very little representation as compared to Nigeria. So what is the problem? What are they doing right? And what are we not doing right? Joining me in the studios this morning is a man that many of us admire and revere. I mean, the most I remember of him, in fact, is when he was playing Inspector Bediako. He's a renowned actor. Mr. Oscar Provencal joins us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. This will be my first time having a conversation with you, I think.
I think so, yes.
I'm honored. Thank you for agreeing to do this. And also joining us via Zoom is Peter Sedufia. He's a filmmaker. And I must say, congratulations on that movie, Aloe Vera. I watched and watched and watched, and I enjoyed every bit of it. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing as well?
Good morning, Bella. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. We were hoping that Juliet Asante would join us. In fact, they had agreed. Just a few minutes ago, we're told that there was an emergency, and so she may not be able to join us. We'll see if we can still raise her on phone to join us. And Mr. Ibrahim Ohene-Jan joins us again this week. We'll be having a conversation. Of course, we know that it's not just music that he works on. He also works on movies as well, and he has gotten the certificates to the highest level with regards to this, so he has in-depth knowledge about the issue. But Oscar, I'll start off with you. How's the movie industry been for you? I mean, if you look at when you used to do Inspector Bediako all the way down to your latest productions, what do you see about the industry?
Well, if you're relating, and good morning, Peter, and congratulations also on Aloe Vera. Personally, as an actor, I've been on a sort of rebound. I was away for about 14 years because I was working in the corporate sector. And so since, I think about 3 years ago, I've done a couple of movies. Yeah. Some are on Netflix, some are doing quite well. So for me personally, I'm not really complaining that much.
Okay.
The industry has enormous potential. And I think that the first thing that we do to ourselves is try and put ourselves in a box and start comparing ourselves to Nigeria and comparing ourselves to Bollywood and comparing ourselves to whatever. Look, let's move in our own lane. Let's move in our own trajectory. Let's make sure we get our regulations right. Let's make sure we get our funding, financing sector right for the film industry. And we'll move accordingly. I mean, Nigeria has, as you've stated, and I've read that report.
Yeah.
Nigeria churns out maybe 5,500 films annually.
Yes.
Compared to our 600. Now, if you look at the population of Nigeria, it's 250 million versus 30 million. Lagos State alone is 40 million. It's more than the population of the entire Ghana. Why do you want to compare yourselves to a country like that? I mean, this is not Ghana versus Jollof Mata. It's not.
Yeah.
So we're not in a race. We just need to make sure we put the foundations right so that the opportunities that are there for people who have the love and the passion to be in that value chain of film production have opportunities that the globe offers.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. And let's stop fantasizing about competing with Nigeria here and there. On Netflix, Nigeria currently has about 110 films.
Yeah.
Ghana has about 12, approximately. I could be right or wrong. But look at the comparisons. You've always got to recognize that these disparities are going to be there, but it's not Ghana versus Nigeria football match either. So this is about industry, this is about employment, this is about wealth creation, job creation for the youth, and a whole lot of things come into it. And so for me, I think that when you look at post-COVID, and you must remember that we must put all of this in context. Pre-COVID, the industry was on a downturn. It was virtually on its knees. Everybody was complaining about telenovelas on TV and all the stations are showing TV. We know there was a downturn, and we know the impact that COVID had on the film industry globally.
Yeah.
Ghana was not an exception. And so we're currently on a rebound. And so we must look at it from that perspective and make sure that the lessons that need to be have learned from the past are learned.
Okay.
And the right, rules, regulations, guidelines, and financing opportunities be laid at, on the table. Look, we keep on crying today as if the industry was never good.
Yeah.
But that's a lie.
It was good.
That's an absolute fallacy, because there's a trend analysis. And if you look at back in the day, back in the early 80s, 90s, Ghanaian films were hot.
Yeah.
People were queuing here. This used to be Ghana Films Industry Corporation. They had their film studios here. People were queuing from here to Blackstar to Jubilee House.
To come and watch.
2 rows to come and watch Ghanaian films.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
No, but then, when you also read on that, they say that those films that were produced then were of a higher quality, which is why a lot of us used to want to watch it.
Absolutely. It's all about the numbers. Look, if you can produce films, which Nigeria is doing for low quality, and that is why Nigeria is producing the volumes they are doing, 99% of their films are rubbish. I'm sorry, I have to say that. How many of them out of the 5,500 have got to Netflix? 110 have got to Netflix. Look at the disparity. So let's not assume, and don't forget, back in those days, no producer will bring bad films to Ghana. They bring the best of Nigerian films for Ghanaians to watch. So let's also understand that we have had opportunities to grow this industry properly, but we didn't because of our attitudes and our behavior and our small-mindedness regarding films. And I'm sorry, I have to be very, very, very blunt. And I think the producers of back in those days have admitted today that they made mistakes.
Okay.
They made serious mistakes.
Like?
For instance, they killed the film industry once in Ghana by bringing in Nigerian films.
The Ghanaian producers?
Exactly, the same producers who were producing Ghanaian films. When the industry turned down, then they went to Nigeria and started bringing Nigerian films. We told them, and when I said we, the Ghana Actors Guild and other stakeholders, told them that they would kill the industry. And they didn't listen because they were interested in profiteering. They're businessmen. They weren't necessarily filmmakers, but they were businessmen who were into film. So they're in there for a profit. I do not fault them for that. That was their business model. But by flooding the system with Ghanaian films, they killed the Ghanaian film industry.
Oh, you mean by, okay.
And you remember Aki Apapo and all those films that came and all of that. Before it died down, and you remember, every peak has its downturn. And when that wasn't working anymore, because what the producers did was introduce regulations that Nigerians, when they come, they should register their films, pay a deposit of $3,000, because at that time there were a lot of complaints that hotels weren't being paid, artists weren't being paid. So they introduced this, unilateral sort of decree, and which the Nigerians turned down. And because of that, they started banning Ghanaian actors from even acting in Nigeria.
I see.
So then came the collaboration between Ghana and Nigeria. And then we saw a sudden upturn in the film industry because a lot of Nigerian producers were. So there's a trend analysis. And then before we moved to the glamour films of the Jackie Appiers. And from there we moved to where? When that downturned, we moved to Kumasi and was Kumawood. So we've had all these opportunities to regularize and improve our film industry. But the people at the helm of the industry were not interested. The formula was working for them. They were making their money. So if you invest 1,000 Ghana cedis and you can make a movie in 2 days, 3 days, and you make your profit, that was their model. And so now, COVID has, and the downturn has brought about a situation, and the digital age has brought about a situation that Now you must produce a certain kind of quality to earn a certain kind of revenue, return, ROI. And if you look at it very carefully, every country normally has a very strong local industry.
Which we don't.
Which we did, but we've lost it.
I'll let you hold on to that. We'll come back to this conversation.